class, today I am going to walk you through the guided career research assignment. Let's start with Part A, Explore Your Talents. These questions are going to be answered using your Clifton Strengths Assessment results from week 4. You're going to list your top 2 signature themes. Then for number 2, you're going to write those 2 themes down, and then you're going to think about them and choose different observations or suggestions where you can link the theme to your career choice and how having that strength or theme is going to be helpful to you in that career choice. So for example, if you want to be an engineer, having the futuristic theme or strength may be helpful to you because you're always thinking about the next thing and looking ahead instead of looking backwards. Then we're going to move on to Part B. This is where you explore your interests and values. Now, this information is included in Module 7, so it will make a little more sense once you read the module. But for this part, you're going to go into the My Plan assessments in Atlas. So you're going to log into Atlas, go to the Life Map tab on the left side of the page, and look for My Career Planner. We're going to go to Take Me to My Plan, but before you do, if you've never been to this section of Atlas before, you're going to want to copy this code that's here. It may be different in different semesters or for different students, but whatever your code is here, you're going to copy that so you have it for later. And then you're going to click Take Me to My Plan. This takes you to myplan.com. It is a paid site, but Valencia's already paid for it for us. So if you've never been on this site before, you'll click Create a Free Account. You'll put in your username, make a password, fill out all of this information. At some point, it will ask you for that code that we just saw. Of course, I've done this many times, so I have a login already. Once you log in, you can hunt around, of course, and look at any of the information you find here, but the part that's going to be helpful for the assignment is under the Assessment tab at the top. So you can see the 2 main ones that are discussed in the assignment are the Interest Inventory and the Career Values Assessment. So since I've already done the Interest Inventory, not in quite a long time, but it shows me that my primary area is investigative, and it explains what that means. And my secondary area is conventional, and again, explains what that means. So if I go back to the assignment, you'll see that it asks you for your top 2 interests. Then, question number 4 will ask you to read those descriptions of your 2 interests and describe the kind of work environment that's best suited for people with interests in these areas. Does that match up to your career? So for example, let's see, we can see what's important here. So as an investigative person, I'm probably going to do best in a career that deals with teaching or doing science, things like that. So that is the Interest Inventory report. You'll see that number 5 is going to ask you about a different assessment. This is the Values Assessment. So this looks at what you value the most in a workplace or a company. These are not your personal values, so not family and things like that. We are looking for the values test. And you'll see that at the bottom, Career Values Assessment. Of course, I've also done this one, so I'm going to click on it. And it shows you that there are 6 areas for work. And of course, they'll be listed in the order of importance, depending on how you answered the questions. So it's very important to me to have independence in my work. And, I don't like to be micromanaged. I don't like to be told what to do. I like to just kind of do my own thing and get the job done on my own terms. Working conditions means that I am most attracted to jobs that kind of fit my personal style, that give me security, that I feel valued, those kinds of things. And of course, there are others that you may land on as well. But for me, I would put independence and working conditions here. And then number 6 asks you to think about your career and your degree or your major, and think about how both of these assessment results from the values and the interest inventory line up with your future career. Does it make sense? Now, it's important to note as well that if you take these assessments and you find that it doesn't line up with what you want to do for a living, that's okay. These are simply assessments meant to give you a little bit of insight into what's important to you. I will tell you, every time I ever took a career test in high school, it told me to be a park ranger. I'm not a park ranger, and I'm very happy. I may like being out in nature and hiking and, plants and animals, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's what I want to do for the rest of my life. So it's okay if your results don't line up with your career, but just give that a little bit of extra thought. So now on to part C. This is where we're really starting to explore your career. I want you to pick 2 careers or positions. Even if you already know what you're going to do, you know you're going to be a nurse, look at 2 different kinds of nurses, or nurses in 2 different kinds of environments. Being a nurse in a doctor's office is going to be very different than being a nurse in an emergency room. Or being a pediatric nurse is going to be very different than being a geriatric nurse. So either pick 2 totally different careers if that's where you are, if you're kind of undecided, or if you're pretty decided, pick 2 different kinds of careers under the same umbrella. So you'll list your careers there, and then now we're going to go into the library databases to start finding out about your career and its details. So for this part of the assignment, we're going back into Atlas on the My Atlas tab. You should have a libraries box on the left side of the page. We're going to click the top link that says Search the Library. The library catalog is going to pop up in a new window. In the buttons at the top, you're going to choose Databases A to Z. From here, you'll go to the alphabetical list and you'll click on the letter F and visit Ferguson's Career Guidance Center. This is our library database that's really dedicated completely to career and education exploration. That's really what this course is about. Of course, I want you to learn things like study skills and all that, but really the main purpose is for you to figure out what you want to do so you don't waste your time and your money and your education here at Valencia, and even once you move on to UCF or UF or wherever you end up. So you can see on Ferguson's, there's all different kinds of things you can do. You can just browse or do career assessments to kind of find a career path. You can look at information about colleges. It does help you prepare for careers, so it gives you tips about interviewing or resumes or things like that. And then it can also help you find a career. But really what we're going to do is use the search feature at the top. So what you're going to do is type in your future job title, not your major, not a category. We wouldn't put healthcare, we wouldn't put nursing, but we would put pediatric nurse. Me personally, I want to be a librarian when I grow up. So I'll type that in and click search, and I'll get a number of search results of, for me, all different kinds of librarians. So this is where I can look through and see the one that fits me best. This can also give you some ideas about that second career to research. So maybe I'm pretty certain I want to be a children's librarian, but I will research, being a music librarian just in case, if that's something I'm interested in as well. So click on the title and it brings you to your profession profile. This is where you're going to be able to answer all of the questions that are listed in this section. So you see you're going to give the name or the title of the article. So for me, librarians, that's it. And then I'm going to answer the rest of these questions in my own words. I'm going to detail what the salary range is. And here I'm going to talk about what the job is actually like. You'll find that right away in the overview. So this is basically just a quick description of what the career is like. You'll have these quick facts here that will give you some quick information. But then on the right side in the table of contents, it's going to explain that further. So for example, it gives me the median salary. But if I go over to the table of contents and click earnings, it's going to explain that median salary a little bit more. So for example, as a librarian, it says if you work in a K through 12 public school, this is what you might make. If you're at a college or university, this is what you might make. If you're at a public library, this is what you might make. It will tell you about things like the work environment. So you can think about your interest assessments, your values assessments that we just did in the previous section, and see how that lines up. We all have misconceptions about what careers are like. For example, I've had students in the past tell me they want to be a lawyer because they want to do trials and argue with people and win. Well, a good lawyer never has to go to trial. So those are things that you can really figure out from reading through these profiles. And of course, there are other things you're going to need to talk about, like the education requirements, the employment prospects, things like that. So you will go through the information on your career profile and answer all the questions. Again, in your own words, please do not copy and paste directly from Ferguson's. Now, you're going to repeat the whole process over again, but with that secondary career. And then at the end, it's just a brief reflection question. So you'll write a paragraph about kind of reflecting on this whole assignment. So has doing this research changed your perspective on your career goal? Has it affirmed? So, it's okay if you read your career profile and you think, wow, this is not what I thought it was going to be. I need to look at something new. That is the whole point of this assignment. Tell me that in this section. Or maybe you read the details and you said, yep, I'm good. This is the one for me. That's great as well. So this is your brief walkthrough of the assignment. As always, if you have any questions, you can reach out to me.